A few years from now, life expectancies could be well over 100 years old for many of us, believe it or not. Joining John is a special guest who can tell us more. John?
Thanks, Emily. Growing limbs and organs from stem cells, altering DNA to ward off disease and cure cancer. Just some of the big changes in biotech we're hearing about. Sonia Arrison has explored all of this extensively in her book, 100+, which looks at how changes in healthcare technology are influencing society. Welcome to Bloomberg West.
Thank you.
When we talk about people getting older, how much older are we talking about right now?
Right. So in my book, I posit that within my lifetime, I'm almost 40,
okay,
people will be living to 150, we'll have a life expectancy of 150 years.
For what percentage of the population?
Well, that's a good question. It may not be the entire, even now, we have segments of there's a big divide between segments of the population within the U.S.
So, okay, let's just go through the numbers again. So, say 60 years from now, people could be living to 150 is basically what you're saying.
Absolutely. And there's a number of different reasons for that. There's different technologies that are going to allow us to live not only longer, but healthier. And that's I try to talk about health spans in the book rather than lifespans.
Yeah.
Because even now, we're living longer, but healthier as well. In the beginning, we've made a lot of progress in terms of average life expectancy. And in the Cro-Magnon era, it was around 18 years. During the European Renaissance, it was around 30 years. You go up to 1850 America, 43 years. Today, it's around 80 years in the U.S. and higher than that in some other countries. And in the beginning, we made progress at some of the low-hanging fruit, infectious diseases, better nutrition, germ theory. I mean, all these different things that made it easier for us to live longer and healthier. And then there was this idea that, well, that's fine, but there's this limit, right? We can't. Once we get older, and we can't break this limit. Aging is set in stone, and once we've got all the low-hanging fruit, we won't be able to go any further. And that hasn't been true. In fact, in the second half of the 20th century, most of the gains that we've made in terms of life expectancy have been made after age 65.
So then what are some of the biggest innovations that have led to this? I mean, we highlighted a couple off the top.
Right, so tissue engineering is one of the big ones. That's the ability to grow brand new human organs out of adult stem cells. It's already been done for a few lucky humans. Bladders, windpipes have been grown. In the lab, they've been able to grow hearts and lungs.
And then this, of course, gets you to the question of how our own lives change. If there are people who are going to live to 150, I mean, you think of the retirement age of 65, which people aren't retiring at because it's a tough economy. Is the new retirement age going to be 95?
Right. Well, of course, it will have to. I mean, nobody expects to retire at 65 today anyway, but that will have to go up, of course. And in fact, the definition of retirement, I think, will change over time. I mean, right now we think of it as this large chunk of time at the end of our life where we, take off and go traveling and relax. But I think in the future, when we can live to be 150 years in a relatively healthy state, we may take off periods of time during our life to get re-educated, to go try a different job. You might go back to law school, to med school. And so I think retirement will come to mean something entirely different in the future.
All right, Sonia, let's hope we get there. Get a few degrees, extra degrees along the way.
Excellent.
Sonia Arrison joining us with details on her book, 100+. Emily?
Exciting stuff. Thanks for that.